If this message reaches you, it is meant for you. For anyone seeking inner peace today, you are not the mind. Listen. There comes a moment in every seeker's journey when the chasing stops, not because you found what you were looking for, but because something inside you finally whispers, enough, enough striving, enough struggling, enough trying to force your life to make sense, enough trying to become worthy, successful, spiritual, healed, awakened. And when that moment arrives, it feels like both an ending and a beginning. You sit quietly. Maybe in your room, maybe in your car, maybe in the middle of another breakdown you didn't tell anyone about. And you realize something that shakes you. Everything you've been searching for has been searching for you. This is where part 2 begins. This is where the true meaning of I am starts to unfold, not as a concept, not as spirituality, but as lived truth. Most people don't understand this stage of awakening because it doesn't look impressive. It doesn't look enlightened. It doesn't come with fireworks or angel choirs or visions. It comes as exhaustion, as surrender, as emptiness, as silence. And yet, that silence is the doorway to everything. Joel Goldsmith once wrote that the presence doesn't come when you call it. It comes when you stop calling. It doesn't reveal itself when you chase it. It reveals itself when you finally become still enough to notice that it never left. Today, this message is for the ones who are tired, the ones who fought too long, the ones who feel they are breaking, the ones who don't know what to do next, because what comes after your breaking is your becoming, and what comes after your becoming is your remembering, and what you remember is not who you think you are. You remember I am, not the words, but the presence behind the words. There is a moment when the ego collapses and the real you steps forward. Not because you forced it, not because you earned it, but because truth has always been stronger than illusion. It just waited for you to stop clinging to the illusion. And when you finally stop seeking, something extraordinary happens. You discover that what you were running toward has always been inside you, looking out through your eyes. Let me take you deeper. There is a field of awareness inside you, a still, silent, luminous space, untouched by trauma, untouched by fear, untouched by failure. Most people never touch it because they are too busy trying to fix themselves. You cannot fix what was never broken. You cannot heal what was always whole. You cannot find what was never lost. You cannot seek what has already found you. This is the paradox of awakening. You awaken not by doing more, but by doing less. In fact, the presence doesn't show up when you try harder. It shows up when you stop trying, not because effort is bad, but because effort belongs to the mind. The presence belongs to the soul. Let me illustrate this with a real American story, one that still gives me chills. A woman from Pennsylvania spent 20 years in spiritual study. She read every book, attended every workshop, did every meditation, but the more she tried, the emptier she felt. Her life looked spiritual, but inside she was starving. One night she broke down, fell to the floor, crying so hard she said she felt her ribs shake. And in the middle of those tears, she said the words, "I give up." Not in defeat, but in surrender. She lay there for hours, emptied of everything, her beliefs, her techniques, her effort, her identity. And in that silence, something entered her awareness, not from above, not from outside, but from within. A presence so gentle it felt like a whisper. A peace so deep it felt like she was being held by something invisible. a knowing so soft it didn't use words. And it said, "I am here," not as a voice, not as imagination, but as a realization that spread through her entire body like warm light. "I am here," she later said. "It wasn't God coming to me. It was me returning to myself." This is the heart of part 2. The presence does not arrive, it is revealed. And it is revealed when you stop seeking. Let's go deeper. Every spiritual seeker runs in circles because of one simple misunderstanding. They believe they are separate from the presence they seek. They believe God is somewhere out there, that peace is something they must achieve, that healing is something they must earn. But here is the truth Goldsmith pointed to again and again. What you call God is the very awareness hearing these words right now. Not outside you, not beyond you, not higher than you. Within you, as you. This is why silence is so powerful. Silence is not empty. Silence is full. Silence is the language of the I am. We are afraid of silence because the ego dies there. Identity melts there. Control dissolves there. And most people are terrified of losing the self they built. But what you lose in silence was never you. And what remains is eternal. Another story. A man in Oregon spent most of his life running from himself. Alcohol, relationships, work, distractions, anything to avoid being alone with his mind. Yet somehow, the pain always found him. One day he was sitting by a lake early in the morning, hungover, exhausted, and feeling like life had beaten him to the ground. The water was still. The air was cold. The world was quiet. For the first time in decades, he wasn't running. And in that stillness, something happened that he never told anyone for years. He realized the awareness watching the lake was the same awareness watching his pain, was the same awareness that had been with him through every mistake, every heartbreak, every failure. It was quiet. It was gentle. It was not judging him. It was not punishing him. It was not waiting for him to improve. It was simply there. He said, "I realized God had been with me in every hotel room, every bar, every lonely night, not as a being, but as the awareness itself." That was his awakening. Not a miracle, not a vision, a recognition. I am here. I am always here. When you stop seeking, you finally feel what has been holding you all along. Let me take you deeper still. There is a moment in every awakening when you realize that the self you've defended your whole life, the personality, the reputation, the past, the fears, was just a mask. The real you was underneath, quiet, still, timeless, unchanging. You are not the story you tell. You are the one who tells it. You are not the suffering you carry. You are the space that holds it. You are not the noise of your mind. You are the silence beneath it. And when this becomes clear, life shifts from struggle to surrender, not the surrender of giving up, the surrender of opening up, the surrender of relaxing into who you already are. Now listen closely. The presence cannot be found because it cannot be lost. The presence cannot be reached because it is not separate from you. The presence cannot be summoned because it is your very self. It reveals itself the moment the mind stops insisting it knows who you are. Another story, and this one is powerful. A soldier returned from deployment deeply traumatized. Nightmares, panic attacks, guilt he could not speak about. He avoided everyone. He avoided himself. One night, unable to sleep, he sat alone on his porch with a blanket wrapped around him. The sky was dark and quiet. The world seemed frozen. He whispered into the night, "God, I don't know who I am anymore." And in that broken whisper, something cracked open. Not a miracle, not a lightning flash, a stillness. A moment where time seemed to pause, where he felt something beneath the fear, beneath the trauma, beneath the memories. A presence, soft, warm, alive, silent. He later said, "It was the first time in years I felt like I wasn't alone inside myself." That was the I am, making itself known. This is part 2. The realization that seeking keeps you from seeing. The presence reveals itself not when you try, but when you stop trying. Let me give you the deepest truth of this message. The I am is not discovered by effort. It is uncovered by surrender, and surrender is not passive. Surrender is the highest act of courage. It is standing before your pain without running. It is letting go of the need to control what was never yours to control. It is allowing yourself to be exactly where you are without judgment, and when the mind falls silent, the presence rises. You start to see life differently. You start to feel a strength that isn't yours but flows through you. Your decisions become clearer. Your relationships soften. Your fear loosens its grip. Your heart opens. Your past loses its poison. Your future loses its pressure. And suddenly, you are no longer walking toward God. You are walking with God, not as two, but as one. Because the I am within you is the same I am within all beings. Joel Goldsmith said it beautifully, "There is one consciousness appearing as many." That means when you look at another person, you are looking at another expression of the same presence that lives in you. You stop reacting. You start understanding. You stop judging. You start seeing. You stop fighting life. You start flowing with it. And flowing with life is where miracles happen. Not miracles like magic tricks, but miracles like peace where there used to be fear. Healing where there used to be hurt, clarity where there used to be confusion, hope where there used to be hopelessness, love where there used to be longing. The I am reveals itself quietly, softly, silently, like dawn spreading across a dark sky. Not in one big moment, but in many small ones. A thought replaced with peace, a fear replaced with trust. A judgment replaced with compassion, a memory replaced with forgiveness, a wound replaced with understanding. Piece by piece, the false self falls away. Piece by piece, your true self rises. This is the awakening. This is the path. This is the presence revealing itself. And now I will leave you with the truth that part 2 is built upon. Stop seeking. Start seeing. Stop reaching. Start resting. Stop chasing. Start realizing. Because the moment you become still, the I am makes itself known. And if this message opened something inside you, if you felt even a spark of recognition, if something inside whispered, "This is the truth I've been waiting for," comment below. I am awakened, and subscribe for part 3 of this journey, because the awakening has only just begun.